James News came in messes in the religion. And he wrote
The difference with this
Oak Mark Road. He wrote flat, fucking Celtic things there. And he just sat in the middle of it, and nothing like that, because he couldn't, he was just kind of out now. And I think it was Chris Woods. That's the nice thing. It's great that hill, actually. I wonder if it's still there. Oh, it was off the side, didn't it?
Yeah.
Remember one night was married. No, I think I want to do one at some point. I was talking about that with the Hicks and I think it's the same, like when that was what we did. And then, someone was saying, winning the project, 50, but Tom Hicks did one in his house. And they made a barbecue for us. Oh, no, it was yeah, no, I mean, that night, probably wouldn't go as far as that night in married again, away. Most of us would come to a funeral, while you was in church. It was Dick Turpin, Queen's night at the hotel. And when most of us were walking around midnight, the deal was, what we did, if you weren't told, or someone else was doing something, you could actually just the rules. So, walking out, come in and he goes to me, where are they out? Go on there, get when he went in, Bill Ellery was sitting on the fucking line for us. Yeah, actually, on the pit, you know, Maggie had a wench sitting on his roof on the flat. It was just fucking game and everything. When I say a wench, I mean, I wasn't just describing a woman, it was like a character, you know what I'm saying? No, I think we're from Chelsea. She never won. Yeah. Like he said, you only could be in college. I've done for the week before.
No.
Because the bills like so like he said, you put one foot in the make sure it lasts for 2 o'clock. Yeah, it was mad like that. He was coaching them, so he was like coach.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to his house recently.
But then again, City.
Yeah, this is an lovely place.
The big guy.
No, he's finished.
Out in a minute.
You're beginning more, you know. Or change there, I'm not sure. No, I asked specifically asked, and they said, yeah, I'll put that on TikTok and I go on that.
They were like top 4 at this sort of stage. On the last day. Yeah, was that? He's going to go in the sun.
Big week, isn't it? Big game.
Long game of time.
I reckon Trent brings me Thursday.
Good morning. It's open, right? Morning.
Firstly, Anna, can I get the first latest on Gravenberch and Curtis Jones and Isaac?
Yeah, you can. Ryan trained with us yesterday, and the others two didn't yet.
Are you expecting them? What's the time scale on those?
Yeah, as I said many times, in the end phase of the injury, things can go slow down a bit, and things can go faster. Let's wait and see where they are. But like I said, Ryan trained with us for the first time yesterday. Will train with us today, and then we're gonna make the call if he's able to start, yes or no. And the other two are probably 99.9% sure not in the squad Saturday.
You talked about squad depth after the game against Crystal Palace. What is it you think you're missing? What do you think that you need?
We miss nothing, so I'm happy that you asked this question. I'm completely happy with the team, with all the quality we have, and I'm also completely convinced by the strategy and the policy we have. But that makes it the issue, if you could talk about an issue, is that not all of them have had a proper preseason or have been injured during the season. So then when 3 or 4 are injured, you go back to 16 players. So I am a firm believer in the fact that 20, 21 players are enough, but you have to keep them fit, as we did last season. And we are struggling a bit more to keep them fit for, in my opinion, obvious reasons, because Alex is a great example of this. Came to us, I think, the 1st of September. A few others have missed out on pre-season. A few others have had their injuries in pre-season. So it has been more difficult than last season to keep them all available. And if then a few of them are not available, then it comes down a lot towards the same players. And maybe last season we were more lucky, or now we're a bit more unlucky. Again, no excuses for our results before people are going to say this again. But we had to play a lot of away games with only 2 days rest in between. And that would have been a difficult schedule for every player last season. And I mean a player that has been fit throughout pre-season, throughout the whole season. But that has not been our situation. And then I think you have to manage it, because upcoming week is again free in 7 or 8 days. So there's nothing to do with the squad depth. It has to do with how we've went through the season in terms of injuries and availability, and players available to play every single time 2 games in 3 days.
Finally, for me, there's been a lot of speculation about contract negotiations for you. Are there talks ongoing at the moment? Can you tell us?
This is the last question I was expecting. I think my focus could be completely on getting Liverpool back on winning ways, and that's my first answer. And the second answer is that contract talks, if they are even there, are never. We never speak about this here. But let us first start to win again. That's where my main focus is on.
Anna, you mentioned there about the injuries that your team is suffering with and have suffered with across the first few weeks of the season, and the fact that the schedule is as demanding as it ever is. With the issues that you've got at the moment, how are you going about trying to solve these problems? How difficult is it to solve them in season with the injuries and with the number of games that you've got as well?
Just handling the situation as it is. So Alex is. Let me use Alex as an example. He had to do his pre-season inside the season, and people can then argue, why do you play him? But if I don't play him, I don't have him available, and we need to have him available, because otherwise I have to play Hugo every single game. And that was just with Owen Hargreaves when he made the comparison between the two of them, and he showed that the both of them, for another reason by the way, but he showed me over there that both of them played. One played 34 games last season, the other one 34. And we play 60 over here. So that's why I need to get Alex as soon as I can into playing as many games as he can. And that has been something not only with him but with a few others as well. So Jeremy Frimpong has been in and out with injuries quite a few times. Same with Conor Bradley. So if one is out, the other one has to play more. That's why I've played maybe also Dominic Szoboszlai a few times in that position. So that has been something what every team, by the way, has. So it's, again, not an excuse for us, because every team works with this. But what was a bit different than, for example, for me last season, is that last season they all had 1 year Premier League experience as a minimum. And they were all fit when we started, and they stayed fit. and now they weren't all fit from the start, and then it's also then you have to some players have to play maybe even more than you want them to do, which is a risk for them getting injured as well. But it's just a situation as it is, and we have still more than enough good players available to play the game on Saturday, to play the game on Tuesday, and to play the game on Sunday. But I have to take care of a few of them, and that's why I made the decision not to play 7 or 8 players 2 days ago.
When you look at the run of results you've had, I know you've never had a run like this in your career before. How much are you learning about yourself and your capabilities as a manager to adapt to this sort of situation and deal with all these problems that we're talking about?
Maybe learning comes then a little bit later, because now you're mainly focused on how can I change, and you always evaluate the decisions you've made, the choices you've made, or the things you've done afterwards. And my focus is now not so much on trying to look back on what has happened, but more on how can we get a very good performance on Saturday. And so yeah, maybe the learning part is going to come a little bit later, but for now the focus is on the future and is on how can we get a good result, or at least a good performance against Villa, because normally a good performance from this quality players leads to a good result.
Thank you. Arne, what are the key factors do you think that are going to help you arrest this recent poor run of results, 6 defeats in 7 games, and what's the key to getting the best out of the players again? I know there have been elements of misfortune in that run, but there have been occasions. I know last week was the first time I've heard you say you're really disappointed in the performance against Brentford.
Yeah, for 60 minutes, yes. 30 minutes was okay, but 60 minutes was... I think first half against Palace was also similar to that 60 minutes I was talking about. Yeah, the thing that gives me the most confidence is the quality of the players we are having. So, and the amount of chances these players are still creating. So this will eventually always lead to these players scoring more goals than we've done till now. And we have to address certain other things. But yeah, if I talk about that, if I'm speaking about what we have to improve, people then tell me I'm using excuses. So maybe it's better now just to say we need to address certain things to do better. But there are a lot of positives to go into this week as well. Like I just said, quality of the players is the first and foremost. And the amount of chances we create from open play is still good enough to compete for the positions we want to compete for.
I know one of the things I'm sure you want to address is maybe the lack of physicality in elements of, in times of some of the recent matches, particularly last week. Obviously the players are trying to win their battles. On occasions, is it down to sort of a lack of confidence that sort of, you know, because things are going wrong, one thing leads to another? Because that can be a really important part, but it is a really important part of the game.
Yeah, no, and it gets more and more important in every Premier League game, let alone in games of ours. It's never helpful if you end a game of football against United with conceding a set piece and you start another one in the Premier League and you concede after 5 minutes a throw-in from a set piece. But I think, not 100% sure if I'm correct, we had to defend 16 set pieces. And 15 we defended well. But yeah, we're at this moment in a time where 15 isn't enough because we conceded 16. And the first one, someone said to me, who worked in a completely different department, but he said, no plan survives the first contact. And that is also a little bit what makes it difficult if you are 5 minutes in the game and you're 1-0 down. That is never helpful for confidence and for the plan you're having. But like I said, if I liked a little part of the game, it was the part after we conceded the 1-0, because at that moment of time we were creative. We created our chances, but we couldn't score. And then in the last 10 minutes, it became more of their game again. And eventually, the way we conceded the 2-0, yeah, that is something that is far from our standards.
Hi, Arne. There's been a lot of discussion in the last few weeks about long balls, and then discussion about your discussion of the next two opponents in the Premier League, Aston Villa and Man City, play less long balls than anyone else in the league. So do you think that this might help you impose your game on those teams, or do you think maybe those teams will try and adapt their game to try and focus on what could be seen as a weakness?
No, they're also really good at that. So Chelsea played their own game against us. They brought the ball out from the back as well, and we didn't win that one as well. So again, when people ask me after the game, why was it difficult, I try to explain why it was difficult. And if the question is why it was difficult, I answer the question why it was difficult. People don't ask me, can you come up with excuses, and then I give an answer. So I try to explain why it was difficult, and I did this only for the first time after United, because the games before that I felt would be stupid to tell so, because I'm not 100% sure if everybody is already noticing what we're seeing. Then I underestimate a lot of analysts throughout the country. But if it happens after the 10th game and 9 of them were so much focus on long balls, then I think it's fair to say for me, if you ask me the question, why is it difficult, to say this without opening the eyes of upcoming opponents. These two teams we face now indeed bring the ball more out of the back, but they're also really good in it. So I think City is a high pressing team. We're really good in high pressing, but I did see Villa being able to play through that multiple times. And if I'm 100% correct, I think I am. They won the game by a set piece. Yeah. So another time, the importance of a set piece.
Anna, you've not kept a clean sheet in the past 10 games. Is the case now to maybe build from the back and not put as much emphasis on the attack and maybe play Joe Gomez right back and just thicken it up and go from there, or would that be going maybe short of it a little bit?
It does go against my beliefs, but I've won games in the past, so we're talking about City away. That went maybe against my beliefs, but it was necessary to play it over there like that in the second half. So I would be more than open to adapt in certain situations. But I don't think the story is, at least in my opinion, is that we concede chance after chance after chance, and that we are too open, or that it's actually absolutely not like this every single game. Maybe apart from Palace, because in the first half we could have been 2 or 3-0 down. And maybe the Brentford game, I think all the other games we deserved much more than we got. And we hardly conceded a chance. Even this week with the team I put out, which played for the first time together, I think they only conceded 3 big chances. Unfortunately, all 3 went in. But that's because they were big. And they weren't chances, they were big chances. So I don't see us conceding a lot of chances, so I don't see a reason to change our playing style completely. But yeah, we need to do better in not conceding goals. That's for sure.
Michael, last one.
Do you look at Villa, that a very difficult start to the season as a sign of how things quite quickly can turn around? I think they lost, didn't win in the first 6 matches.
Yeah.
You're obviously in a good position right now, but Villa is quite positive, so is that a sign that they can turn that quite quickly, can't they?
It's also a sign that it's better to do it the way they did it than the way we did it. So if you don't win in the beginning, people are like, oh, maybe they don't have the same team as last season or whatever, and then they start to win, and then everything is very positive again. We're with us. I think it's exactly the opposite. So, but we're both on the same points, and apart from Arsenal, I think many teams are in and around the same points. So again, it tells you also how hard the Premier League is. And yeah, they've done very well in the last 5, 6, 7 or 8 games, and that didn't came as a surprise, because even in the games they've lost before, you could already see the signs that they are a very good team and their playing style is really good. And normally, although with us the run is already quite long, you don't every time lose a game of football where you create more chances than the other team. But yeah. They decided not to make a habit out of that, and let's hope we decide not to make a habit out of having more chances than the opponent, but not win it.